All right, let's talk about reflections. Okay, and this is where we're going to take our basic graph and we are going to flip it across the x or the y axis. And you do that when you see a minus or a negative. So let's take an example, y equals the square root of negative x. Okay, so let me remind you what the square root of x looks like. The general graph for y equals square root of x looks like that. And now, when you look inside, underneath this radical, that negative belongs to the x. Okay, so what it's saying is that every x value you had, here, here, and here, well, now we're taking the opposite. So that one's going to go there, that one's going to go there, and that one's going to go there. And look at what my graph looks like now. Okay, so this is the reflection. This one is reflecting around the y-axis, okay? So even though that negative's in there with the x, when you take the opposite of x, you're reflecting around the y-axis. So my final graph is going to look like this. Okay, and now I don't need my original graph anymore. Okay, I'm going to leave it so you can see what I started with. All right, let's reflect another one. Y equals x to the third. Okay, so our basic graph looks like this. Okay, it's like a snake. And now what we're going to do, we're going to put a negative inside with the x. So we're not going to graph y equals x to the third. We're going to graph y equals negative x to the third power. Okay, this negative is inside here. It's part of the base. It's part of the thing that gets cubed. It belongs to the x. So all of my x values are going to be reflected onto the other side. Okay, this one goes here, and this one goes here, and this one goes here. And what we're going to get is going to look like this. We're reflecting it around the y-axis. Okay, and now I don't need my original graph, so in this case I will get rid of it so you can see what the answer is. Okay, and let's look at one more reflection across the y-axis. Let's do the cubed root of negative x. Okay, so the negative is inside with the x. We're taking all of our x values and flipping them across the y-axis. So we'll start with our graph, our basic shape of cube root of x. Okay, it's like a snake going this way. But now all of the x values are now negative x values. Okay, and all of these are going to be mapped over here. Okay, so you see what our graph's going to look like now? It's reflecting across the y-axis. Okay, so here is our answer. Okay, so that is a reflection across the y-axis. Now let's look at it the other way. Let's look at reflections across the x-axis.